Today, we are working on writing quadratic functions when given real solutions and graphs of their related equations. So again, in easier words, you are writing quadratic functions. That means f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, because that's what your quadratic equation is, given real solutions. Solutions, if you remember, rocks are the roots, zeros, x-intercepts of the graph. Last time we wrote quadratic equations or quadratic functions using the vertex form. So you can use this or the other method. You will end up writing the equation. Not a big deal, but then you're supposed to learn both of them. Roots, zeros, x-intercept, solution, and factors. That's what we are first discussing. Functions that can be written in the form of this. This is quadratic function. An equation that can be written in this form, which is quadratic equation, and I actually can factor it. Or I possibly can factor it. This graph is of the equation or a function f of x equals x squared plus x minus 2. This is shown over here. And your roots, zeros, or x-intercepts or solutions are, this is positive 1 and this is negative 2. So if I have to write roots, zeros, and solutions, I would say negative 2 and 1, negative 2 and 1, negative 2 and 1. But if I have to write the x-intercepts, I actually going to use as the order pair. So negative 2, 0, negative 1, 0. Because x-intercept is a point where it crosses the x-axis. That means that point value should have the 0 or should have the y value as well. So these are just numbers. And x-intercept is the order pair. Linear factors. Factors, if you remember, we had a quadratic equation and then we made, we used the x puzzle and then we actually factored it where we got the two numbers from. So if you notice that I have this equation, x squared plus x minus, this should be 2 over here, by the way. The factors for these equations were, it's negative 2 on the top and 1 at the bottom. So my factors should be 1, 2, and it should be negative 1 and 2. So these were my two numbers that I needed. And I would write my factors. A value is 1. So my factors are basically x plus 2 and x minus 1. So these are my factors. Now I want you to actually pay attention that your factor is a plus 2, but your 0 or x-intercept was negative 2. If your factor is negative 1, your 0 is 1. Or solution or x-intercept is 1. So your rocks basically are opposite of factors when I'm going to write them out. So notice how the sign in the factor is opposite sign of the value of the rocks. And I'm going to be using the word rocks, so you remember that roots, zeros, x-intercepts, and solutions, all of them are same things. The easier rotation over here is rocks, roots, zeros. This is roots. This is zeros. This is x-intercept. And this is solutions. And you make a line, horizontal line, that helps you remember that, oh, I'm talking about the x-axis. So you remember it's the horizontal axis. All right, so what we have so far learned that rocks, whatever the x-intercept is, factor should be opposite. And then when you're writing factor, you actually write inside of parentheses like x. This is minus 3, so opposite should be plus 3. This is 5, so factor would be x minus 5 because opposite is minus 5. 9 is negative, so opposite would be plus 9. And this is 0. You never do plus minus 0 because plus minus 0 is just not there. It's just x. So factored form equation is y equals a parentheses x minus p and x minus q parentheses again. Now this equation is not given to you on your reference chart, so you have to kind of memorize it. But it's not that difficult, to be honest. It's just like that. There's no squares. There's no much complicated things in there. This is standard form again from your reference chart. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. I can factor it, and actually I can get factors through it. This is what I can do with this equation. Again, this is vertex form. We have used this previously. We actually made vertex form into the standard form by like 2 different methods or 2 processes together. So in vertex form, you are provided a vertex, which is h comma k, and another point on a graph, which is x comma y, and that's the information that you have there. On the factored form, you have the factors or the zeros of the function, which is, well, first of all, rocks, and then zeros are basically these numbers over here, p and q. And q, they're not order pairs, so I cannot use that x, y, no, they're p and q. And then I need one other point on that graph. Now, one other point either could be my vertex, or it could be the y-intercept. So 0 comma y value. This is the y-intercept. So I can use, because these 2 things, I'm going to see them. So I will be using this point or this point, whatever I have the easier one. I will use it, and I will be actually solving that. Using those numbers, I will be using this, solving this equation, which actually is easier than this, by the way. Again, you can always check your answer using the Desmos calculator. Put your equation, put your answer, and then figure out if it's matching or not. You can totally see the x-intercepts. You can see the y-intercept. You can, this one doesn't have a clear vertex because I can't really tell where it is. But again, if 3 points are matching, that's more than enough to know that you're correct. You may read all these steps. I'm gonna do all these steps again, easier way. First thing would be, I'm gonna write the equation. Second, I'm gonna identify the zeros or rocks from the graph, and then I'm gonna plug in p and q. Then I'm gonna find another number, either vertex or the y-intercept, and plug it in as well. I'm gonna solve for a, and I'm just gonna have my equation later. So similar process as we did last time. All right, I need the equation. The question says the graph of a quadratic formula function is shown on the grid. Okay, I see the graph, which is quadratic. Write a function in standard form. So I need to write the equation or the function in standard form that is best represented by the graph. On the day of the exam, it's going to be a multiple choice. So you can use the answer choices and match with the graph. But in the class, of course, I'm going to check all your steps. What is standard form? If you remember your equation, if not, then look at your reference chart. For quadratic function, the standard form is y equal ax plus bx plus c. So this is what I need the equation written in. And I have a graph. So the topic that we are doing today is actually from the x-intercepts, or the solutions, or the zeros, or the roots. So basically, my equation that I'm gonna firstly use is the one that is in the factored form. So which is a, your equation is on the reference chart. No, it's not on the reference chart. It is actually here. So a x minus b x minus q. So x minus p, x minus q. All right, let's look at the rocks. Roots, zeros, x-intercept solutions from the graph. This is what they are. This is 1, 0, and this is 5, 0. So the roots or solutions are basically 1 and 5. So 1 and 5. So this means Q, oh, I should write P first. P is 1 and Q is 5. You have P and Q. I need Y and X, so I need one pair of X and Y. So you could use the vertex, which is 3, -8. But it's easier to use actually the y-intercept, which is 0, 10. It's easier to use the y-intercept. So I'm going to use the y-intercept 0, 10. So my x value is 0 and my y value is 10. All right, this is what my list is that I'm going to use. Let's plug in the numbers. Y is 10. A is question mark. A is question mark. That is what I'm trying to find. If A is question mark, that means I need to find everything else. Or I should have everything else. X is how much? 0. P is 1, so minus 1. Minus is from the formula. X again is what? X value is 0. And Q is minus from the formula, and Q is positive 5. So I'm just going to write like that. 10 equals A. 0 minus 1 is -1. 0 minus 5 is -5. I'm just simply doing PEMDAS over here. These two can be multiplied. -5 times -5 times -1 is +5. So this is basically +5. I need to find A, so that 5 needs to be gone. So A value is 2. I have the A value, which is 2. Once you have the A value, I need in the standard form. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy the equation again, and then this time keep the Y and the X and plug in everything else. So, okay, let me first write the equation. Y should stay like this. A should be replaced with 2. X should stay like that. P minus from the formula. P is what? What is P value? 1. And this is X should stay like that. And then Q is 5. Next, you gotta multiply. You could multiply by 2, but I don't suggest that. I actually recommend to multiply this part first. So x times x is x squared. X times -5 is -5x. -1x. -1 times -5 is +5. All right, I multiplied it. Now I have some terms that I could combine, such as these two. So -5x, -1 is -6x plus 5. So that multiplication is done inside 1. Now I have to multiply the outside, which is 2. So 2 times x squared is 2x squared. This is 2 times 6 is -12x. 2 times +5 is +10. So this would be my equation. And if I have to make sure this is correct, I would simply at this point check in Desmos calculator, and I will match to my graph whether it's the same graph with the same x-intercepts and the vertex and the y-intercept. Those are crucial points that you can match to. So this is how you would do. Now you have 3 questions over here that you have to solve. What I can do is I can actually help you writing out the things for this graph, and then you just do the process so it's easier, and then do the next 2 questions all by yourself. It says a ball is thrown in the air. The graph shows the height of the ball above the ground x seconds after it was thrown. So this is a description of the situation, what is happening. So a ball was thrown and then it hit the ground. After reaching 16 height, it just got back in 2 seconds. Write a function in standard form. So I need the function in standard form. Now, first thing you have to pay attention, what type of function is that? It's a parabola, so it is a quadratic function. So all I need to do is I need to make sure I have the correct equation. So my final answer should be y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Or this could be f of x because it's a function. All right, now in order to be in this format, I either should have the vertex form or the factored form. Since we are working on the factors form, so I would use the x-intercepts. So let's make the list. I need P and Q. So P is 0 and Q is 2. So P is equals to 0 and Q is equals to 2. I need one value of x and y. It could totally be the vertex, which is 1, 16, or the y-intercept, which is 0, 0, because this is also the y-intercept. So y-intercept is 0, 0. My x value is 0, my y value is 0. I would use these points because that's actually easier. I'm trying to find is A. A is question mark. All right, let's write the question, equation. A times x minus P, x minus Q. Now plug in the numbers, find the A values, make partition, rewrite, and have the answer in the standard form. Once you're done, you actually have on the back with a multiple choice, so you should be able to do it correctly. If you need help on figuring out the numbers, because it is blur, try to read. It's not that bad. You should be able to figure out the numbers. If it gets difficult, always count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should be able to do it.